Hey everybody, it's Kelly. Welcome back to another episode of Ask a Therapist. If you've been having sex with men all of your life, and now you're considering or beginning to have sex with women, you're probably thinking about one thing. You have no idea what you're doing. This might be the thing that I get the most questions about on a regular basis, no matter what time of year, no matter what else is going on. How do I take the heteronormative, heterosexual scripts I've always had of sex and erase them so that they are not the scripts that I follow when I start having sex with new partners? And in reality, how could that not be a concern, especially when you come to terms with who you are later on in your life and come to understand sex in one particular way? Why would that not be a fear? These are embarrassing questions to ask sometimes. And the bottom line is the biggest difference. You're moving from a transactional script, a performative idea of sex, into a much more relational one, which does impact people differently. Let's go through these fears one by one in no particular order. So the first one we're going to deal with is the burden of performance and that shift in focus. The heterosexual script of sex is penis-centric. It is about the man's experience. Penetrative sex starts when the man is ready for it and it ends when he's done. And in so many parts of culture, that's the definition of sex. Everything else outside of penetration is sort of up for debate whether or not it counts as sex, which makes the entire experience focused on the man and the entire experience goal-oriented. That finish line, that marker that means the finishing of sex, right? And that's a very clear marker for a man, not so clear for a woman. But when you frame it like that, a woman's role becomes performance-based in her role as like a cheerleader, in her role as an observer, or in her role as a recipient of that penetration that is aimed at the man's climax. The pressure exists on the man to perform and the woman to react to his performance convincingly. If that's the center that you've understood sex to be for most of your life, which in reality is the center that's painted in most of media, most movies, TV shows, even most conversation that's out there, that's sort of how sex is defined and is the definition of sex in a lot of people's experience. So when we look at queer women's sex, there is no center, and there really isn't necessarily a goal either, at least not an automatic one. The focus shifts to turn-taking. The focus shifts to sustaining intimacy between partners. It shifts to exploring senses. And in some ways, that means that the pressure is off. There's no longer a need to be the cheerleader, to perform correctly for someone else so that they can get to where they need to be. It is more about being in the moment and experiencing something with a partner and not needing to make something happen for them or for yourself. It's more about letting something happen. Like, what are we doing together right now in this moment? It's about presence and not about where are we going. That also then makes it more communication centric. So that needs to be sort of that central tool. Like, if you don't know what your partner likes, if you don't know what to do next, that's where you do need to ask. Are you liking this? Does this feel good? What else do you like? What would you want me to do instead? Those questions need to happen. Sex needs to be interactive, conversationally and physically. Everyone involved sort of needs to show up and be involved because there's no central focus and no central goal. Now that kind of leads to another fear, which is, what if I take too long? To be 100% honest, this fear comes from baggage that many people carry. They've been told by a partner at some point in their past that their pleasure takes too long for them to focus on. It's too much work. It isn't worth the work for them to focus on it. It takes too long for them to get there. And that becomes a fear, and you get in your head about that being a fear, and you either don't want a partner to feel that way about you again, you don't want to hear that again, you don't want to be put in that situation again. You can get in your head about that, very understandably. Without an easy answer to that, that is something to be verbalized. And if you and a partner are exploring each other, if you and a partner are in it, there's not really a takes too long kind of situation. If there is, that's going to be honest, that's kind of selfish on your partner's part. Like, there are other things that can be done. If something is not working for you, then you need to switch it up. You don't just keep doing the same thing over and over again, hoping that something like happens. You know, if you're with a partner that has the same body type as you, they should know that. I mean, anybody should know that, really. Everybody should know that. But especially if you're with a partner that has the same body type as you. If it's not working for you, then switch it up. Pay attention to another area. Pay attention to your partner. Like, move things around. The goal is intimacy. The goal is not always orgasm. Orgasms are great, they're not required. Another fear is the use of toys and how they work with anatomy. You would think that going from having sex with someone who has different anatomy from you to having sex with someone who has the same anatomy from you would be easy, right? It would be super simple because you're familiar. And in reality, there's a different type of pressure when you're having sex with someone who has similar parts. First of all, have you ever explored yourself and know what you like in order to even have any idea of what also might work for someone else? And if you have, that doesn't mean it's going to work for someone else, right? Either way, what you're doing now is unfamiliar compared to what you were doing before. So you've got a new landscape, a new script, because the goal is not penetration and the man's pleasure. It's about exploring. In fact, for many people, penetration isn't even an option because it's not something that they enjoy. So now you're talking about hands, talking about mouths, talking about very different array of potential toys. And that array can be intimidating because there's so many options out there. So what do you do with that? Listen, when you have that many options, you can either be intimidated by it or you can see it as an exciting opportunity. And that's called a reframe. Like, that's all that is. You have options to explore different things about what you like, about what a partner likes. You can talk to them about what has worked for them in the past, what toys they like. You can go shopping for new things together. I always encourage people when they're trying to figure out what might work for a partner who has similar parts to theirs, that you first know what works for you. Both because that gives you some sort of a starting point and because it helps you to direct a partner in what works for you. When you feel confident directing a partner in the things that work for you, you will also feel confident in taking direction from a partner, which helps you explore one another more confidently. Speaking of tools and understanding what women need, I want to introduce you to this week's sponsor. It's a company that is challenging a lot of those old stereotypes that we've been talking about. Their name is Hercuddle. At Hercuddle, they believe that intimacy deserves to be as empowering, smart, and personalized as the technology that we use every day. Their mission is to redefine women's wellness through design, technology, and inclusivity, creating products driven by our needs and our voices, not outdated stereotypes. It's all about being cuddle connected. The product I want to talk to you about is their groundbreaking new sex toy, the Vionne. Vionne is all about dual stimulation, both internal and external, but it's technology that makes it the perfect fit for this conversation on personalized pleasure. First of all, it has AI-driven personalization. So if you're afraid of finding what you like, the Vionne can help you do that. It can customize its vibration patterns for your preferences. It can even sync to your Spotify playlist, which makes pleasure built just for you. Second, it includes health tech. It offers pH monitoring and cycle tracking right from the toy itself to help you maintain intimate health and peace of mind. Plus, it's ultra quiet under 35 decibels with discreet shipping so you can keep your new exploration completely private. Hercuddle's committed to women first innovation and they're currently in the crowdfunding stage for the Vionne, expected to launch in October. If you're ready to embrace a new kind of personalized, female-focused intimacy, please check out the Vionne crowdfunding campaign. You can sign up to support and follow this incredible technology. I'll be sure to tag the company below. Please go ahead and check them out. The last fear we're going to cover today is what if I can't relax and enjoy it? What if I'm in my head too much? I get that fear too. That is something that comes up in heterosexual sex, in queer sex. That is something that can come up when you are exploring things on your own. The things that are making you not relax, the things that are keeping you stuck in your head and unable to connect to your body are there for a reason. Whether it is baggage that you're carrying from purity culture, things that you're carrying from heteronormativity, confusion as to whether or not you are doing the right thing with this partner, internalized homophobia about what you're doing with your partner. There are so many different reasons that your brain may be running away with your thoughts and not allowing you to stay centered. There's also lots of different ways you can stay focused, and it is always fair for you to say to your partner, hold up, I'm not here right now. You know, there are things going on in my head. You can talk it out with your partner. Like, it is not required for you to continue in an intimate moment if you're not present. If you can't be in it, you can stop. That's okay. You're not required to allow your body to stay in a moment that your mind is not in. So if you're not able to sync the two up, if you're not able to stay present and stay connected to your body, then you stop, you know? You have that right. There's a lot of baggage that comes with being raised in a heteronormative society. And there's a lot of confusion that can happen when you come out of purity culture and find yourself seen and known and understood in a relationship that doesn't match the relationship that you always thought that you would have. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be easy to make that transition when it comes to sex. It's always worth it to take the time. You're worth it to take your time, you know? And a partner that cares about you is going to understand that. If you have any other questions that were not answered in this video, please drop them below, or any other tips on how you've overcome those heteronormative assumptions and scripts in order to fully enjoy yourself in different types of sex. You can also drop them in the comments below. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you all next time. And until then, take care of yourselves and each other.